So welcome to my youth EFT tapping intro. My name is Kerri Morrison, and I am located in Newburyport, Massachusetts in the United States. I am doing a quick introduction for kids out there who are going through some stress related to all the stuff that's going on in our world. And I wanted to just provide an easy coping tool for people that you can do at home that will help you to be with your stress and not feel as stressed. So it helps to kind of work with your body so that you can feel more in control. So I am a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm also a community educator. So I do lots of different programs like this to teach people all over on how to take care of themselves better. So just for your parents to be aware, there is a downloadable document that I put up on our group chat right here. So I encourage your parents to download that after. I will show the images on the paper on the screen for right now because unfortunately I didn't have a chance to upload it before we started the call. So to begin, I will review what emotional freedom techniques actually is. Has anybody heard of it before? If you raise your hand if you've heard of tapping. Not heard of tapping yet? So tapping is sometimes called acupressure for the emotions. And so what it does is it rapidly releases stressful emotions from our body by tapping on certain points on our body, which I'll get into more on how that really makes sense from a kid's perspective in just a moment. But it helps to change patterns that aren't really feeling very good, and there's lots of research behind it. So in the handout for all the adults to download in the group chat, you will find the links to look at research if you are interested in it. And yes, you have a hand up. You have a question?
Yeah. In the group chat, we didn't get the download yet.
No, it's listed as a link. Do you see a link on there?
No.
No? Do you see at the bottom of the screen it says there's a chat bubble?
Yeah, this says chat, and then I clicked on it, but there's nothing.
Okay, let me just type it in again. Thank you for that. I'll type it in now and see if maybe it wasn't on there from before.
Yeah, now it's here.
Okay, thank you for that information.
Welcome.
So the link on there, you can just copy and paste into your browser, and you should be able to download this 6-page document that you guys can use after this call. So on that has lots of cool links, or a couple of cool links. I tried not to give too much on the kids one, for finding out more information on the science if you want to know the science behind things. So let's get into what this really works with. So has anybody heard of the word biofield before? No? So anybody heard of your energy bubble before? Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. So we all actually have this bubble around our body called a biofield. And it's a biological energy field, and it comes from our heart. So on this image, you can see it radiates right from our heart, and it makes this big energy field around our body. So you can really call it your personal energy bubble, right? So anytime you're around somebody that's really bugging you and you start to feel icky in your energy, it's usually because they're in your energy bubble. So it's good to know how to test your energy bubble. So I like to say it's if you kind of stretch out your arms and you don't touch somebody, you've got a good area around of your energy bubble, right? So you three are definitely in each other's energy bubbles right now. Standing with your arms straight out wide, trying not to overlap with somebody else. And if you do overlap with somebody else, can you feel their energy? Can you pay attention? Does it feel different if you separate and then you come together? Maybe a little bit. So that's good to know that we have this energy bubble, and we can choose either to let people in or not let people in our energy bubble. And sometimes people like more space with their personal energy bubble. So they might actually feel uncomfortable if you just jump into it, and then they might get upset with you. So I don't know, how many people can you remember a time where maybe you jumped into somebody's energy bubble and they got upset with you? How many? I know I've had somebody jump into my energy bubble and I'm like, no, what are you doing? Right? So that's an example of, you know, how people can feel that difference with just being in your energy bubble. So if somebody doesn't want you in their personal energy bubble, just please be kind and listen to their request for space, because they're probably feeling uncomfortable. And you would want them to listen to you if you didn't like them being in your energy bubble either, right? So you want to be doing the same thing for somebody that you'd want somebody to do for you. So the next important part about this is called the body meridians. So the body meridians are like our body power lines. See the lines on there? So all of those power lines that we have in our body connect to things like our organs and how our body functions. So they help us to wake up every day. They help us to eat food, to go to the bathroom, to run around, to sleep, and many, many more things that would take forever to talk about. So they even connect to our emotions, and then our emotions connect to our thoughts. So it's really important to be aware of these body power lines that we have. So when something hurtful happens to us, or we become stressed or upset, our body power lines get a little stuck energy in them. And that might feel like it's slowing down our energy when that happens. So when we have lots of difficult things that happen, our bodies might start to feel drained in our energy, and we might easily get upset with other people. How many people have felt when you get really tired and really drained, you notice that you start getting upset, right? And it's usually because there's some stuck energy in there. So this tool will help you to clear out some of that energy. So next page. So I'll show you that. So that's kind of like an example of, you know, how it might look to have some stuck energy in your body with the power lines. And the power lines go all in the same place. You have the power lines on both sides of your body in the same space. And everybody has them. So next, the emotional freedom techniques, tapping helps us to unblock the stuck energy in those body power lines so things can flow better and we can feel healthy and happy and calm. So how do we get our energy flowing fast again? Now we're going to look at the tapping points. So here is an example, an image. So this one's really for little kids, and then there's other ones on the other pages that I can show you. So the first tapping point I'm going to have you all tap with me is on the top of our head, right?
I'm wearing a headphone.
It's okay. And then make sure you breathe when you're tapping on it. Does anybody feel any different yet? You might not right now, but if you do it enough, you definitely start to feel something. So that's the first one. The next tapping point is right here, right on the inside. So this is how you find it. So you find the inside of your eyebrow here, and there's a little edge on the bone, and that's where that spot is. So you can use one hand, you can do both hands. Sometimes it's good to tap with both hands. You can even tap on the top of your head with both hands. And then remember to breathe. And then the next spot, there's 8 total points, but for little kids, we only do 4 sets. So we'll just do the little kids first, and then I'll continue on with the bigger kids after that. So that's the next one for the little kids. And then the next one after that is right underneath your eye. So if you go 1/3 in from your eye, there's a little notch in the bone right here. So you find that little notch in the bone, and then you tap there. And breathe. And then we're gonna do the next little one, little kid point. It's underneath our arms. So we're gonna put like one hand about our arm, and then we're gonna tap there. So you can tap like a monkey, or you can hug yourself, or you can just use one hand, whatever is most comfortable for you. Then now take another breath. How does everybody feel with that? Good? Does that feel good for people? Awesome. So, like I said, on the printout, you can print out this picture so you can look at it later and remember the points. So a fun way to have little kids especially enjoy this tapping part is by doing the chicken dance. Does anybody know the chicken dance? Yeah? Everybody know the chicken dance? So I can't play the music because I'll get in trouble because of copyright problems. So I'm gonna sing horribly the chicken dance right now for you guys, and I'll show you how you do this for fun, right? So da 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 da. And then for the chorus, if you really want to have fun, then wrap your arms around yourself and go da 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 da, and then you do it again. Da 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 da. You did awesome, guys. Good job. Thanks for following along. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little fun way of doing it. Whew, I'm out of breath now. All right, so thumbs up to that way. You guys like the song with it? Was that fun? Easy to remember? Awesome. All right, so for the bigger kids, we're gonna have another picture. So the bigger kids can use all the 8 points. So if you're probably maybe 8 and up, 8 points will be good. If you're littler, the 4 points are easier to remember. So if you're a little older, you're gonna use the, let me catch my breath a little bit. I wasn't expected to be out of breath. Whew. All right, I need to exercise more. We've been inside too long while we're doing this, right? Yeah. So for the little bit bigger kids, you're gonna want to check in. So it's actually for targeting a difficult issue. If you're just gonna do some tapping to make yourself feel good, you can do all those points anytime without focusing on anything. You can just do it for fun, okay? But if you really wanna work on something that's making you feel bad or stressed out right now, which a lot of kids are feeling with this whole situation, then you can focus on some additional things. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna think about something that stresses you out or where there's a hurt in your body, and then you're gonna check in on where that is in your body. So if you have something in mind that you feel stressed about, when you take a moment to focus on where you feel that in your body. And for people out there, if you want to point out where you found it, you can do that on the screen in your head. So you're going to focus on thinking about in your head, this is where my hurt is. And then you're going to show with your hands how big your hurt is. So is it this big? Is it this big? And you just kind of figure out how big it is. So it's just a little big? Okay. So it's good to remember. So it's only this big, right? So then you're going to think about what that hurt is, where that is in your body, and then you're just going to start tapping on the points and think about that hurt in that place. And remember to breathe. Thinking about that hurt. And then underneath, on the eyes, continue thinking about that hurt. And breathe. And then we're going to go to a new point for the bigger kids. So the side of the eye is another point for the bigger kids. And the way you find that actually is there's another little notch right here. You can kind of feel in the corner of your eye. So you're going to tap there. And breathe. And keep thinking about that hurt, where it was. And then we're going to go to the under the eye spot you already know. Keep thinking about that hurt, where that is in your body. And then you're going to go to a new point under the nose, right here. Keep thinking about that hurt. And then you're going to go under the mouth, right here. Keep thinking about that hurt. And breathe. And then you're going to go to the collarbones. So the way you find the collarbones is you find the middle of your neck, and then you're going to go down about an inch, and then you're going to go out to both sides about an inch. And there's two fleshy spots right here. Once you find the fleshy spots, you can tap on those. And again, keep thinking about the hurt. And breathe. And then we're going to go back to the underarm point. So remember under the arm there? So you're going to tap like a monkey, thinking about that hurt. And breathe. And then at the end, we're going to take a big deep breath. And then check in with your body of where that hurt was and try to see how big you think it is now. If it was that big before, did it get smaller? Did it get bigger? Did it get smaller? So
It got smaller for us.
Smaller? Yeah?
Only this, not this.
Awesome. Yay. That's great. So all you got to do is kind of focus on what that hurt is. And if you feel like it helps to put a word to the hurt, you can say that too. Like say you have a feeling like I'm really angry or I'm really sad. Then you'd, focus on where that feeling is and you'd say, I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad. And you just keep going down in all those points with the one word and the feeling of where it is. Does that make sense to everybody? Thumbs up? Awesome. All right. So next is for the tweens. So kids that are a little older, maybe like 11 to, 11, 12, maybe into early teen years. So we did that because you're a little older, you can use different terms. So you can do focus on where the stress is and give it maybe more of a sentence. Like, I'm sad about not seeing my friends. And then missing my friends. I'm missing my friends. I'm missing my friends. And then you can also do a scale of 1 to 10 because you understand numbers better. So 10 being I'm the most stressed that I've ever felt. What would your rating be of a 1 to 10? If a 10 was the most, you give it a number. And so when you're thinking about your stress, you give it a name and the theme And then you even start on the side of your hand. So you add the side of the hand point. And so the way you find that point is the pinky bone and the wrist bone. There's a fleshy spot right in the middle. And you tap on the side of that. And you can say, for example, that you're maybe sad about missing your friends. So even though I feel sad about missing my friends right now, I'm going to accept myself anyway. And you say that twice. So say, even though I feel sad about missing my friends right now, I'm going to accept myself anyway.
Even though I'm sad of missing my friends, I'll still adjust anyway.
Yes. And you can even say something like, even though I'm not, keeping up with my homework as much as I'd like to, I accept that I'm trying my best right now. You can do that too. So the point of doing that is by saying, here's the problem first, and then you're going to follow it up by what's called an energetic reversal. It changes the energy of it by saying, this is the problem, and I accept myself anyway. And that's only on this side of the hand point here. So you say that twice, and then you go, excuse me, then you go on to your points. So sadness about missing my friends.
I'm sad about missing my
Yep.
sad
About missing my friends, or whatever is fitting for you. I'm sad about missing my friends. I'm sad about missing my friends.
Teachers.
I'm sad about missing my friends or teachers. Yep.
Sad about missing my teachers.
Sad about missing my friends and teachers. I'm sad about missing my friends and teachers. I'm sad about missing my friends and teachers. And then you're going to do the under the arms. I'm sad about missing my friends and teachers. And then take a deep breath. And then you're going to go through paying attention to your body again. And then check in on your scale on how high you are now from the most to the least, on how big your stress is now, and see if it went down or up based on the number. Yes. Go ahead, Yujat.
Me?
Yeah. Did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. So my scale from the most to the least stress was like 1. What
1?
was my least stress?
Okay. So what was it to start before we did that other round?
Like the most stress I had was my forehead. It was like it had like a type of fever. I felt like it was having a fever. It was really hot. So
Okay. Is that changed now?
yeah, it changed.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. Go ahead.
My most was 6, and then now it's like a 2.
That's awesome. Good job. So it helps to focus on the feeling in your body. Sometimes it helps to focus on the words that go with the feeling. But whatever you feel most comfortable doing is what you should do. So just following along with the points, and whatever feels the easiest for you to remember, it's still going to do something if you're tapping on the points, even if it doesn't go perfectly out of your mouth in what you're saying. Okay? And let me make sure I didn't miss anything on here. So if it still bothers you after one round of something, then you can go through it again and try and add, even though I'm still feeling level, say you had an 8 at first, even though I'm still feeling level 6 about missing my friends and teachers, I'm gonna accept myself anyway. And so then you do that twice again, and then you go around and do the whole tapping. Oh, I'm doing great on time. I've still got like another hour. So any questions so far with you guys on any of that? No? Is it pretty easy to understand? I see a question over there. What does she got for a question?
did you learn this?
How did I learn this? That's a great question. I actually took a special course at an organization that I work with who taught me how to learn all these special skills. And now I'm in level 2 of that. So I can help people who who have problems with really hurtful things in their past, bad things that have happened to them. And I help them to change how their body feels about those thoughts by using this technique. But with kids find this so easy. I can actually share a special story I learned from my program with how easy this is for kids to learn. They talked about there was some big war-torn problems. I think it was in Rwanda. I don't know how many of you have learned about Rwanda yet. You know about Rwanda? So Rwanda is a country in Africa. I'm sure you've heard of Africa, right? So Rwanda went through a really big problem with many people getting hurt and getting killed. And a lot of the kids ended up losing their parents in some wars that were over there. And so many kids ended up going into these homes with other kids and not with their parents. And so they had a lot of really bad memories and really hurtful nightmares and many things like that. And there was an organization of people that went to these places and said, we want to provide some teaching on this to help to see if it could help make the kids feel better. So they had the people who are working at the shelters, the orphanages, they called them, and they helped them pick out some of the most challenging kids that had the biggest problems with their painful nightmares and so on. And they had another group of kids that was also pretty tough to work with, but they taught them 2 different techniques. So the first group that was really, really difficult, they taught them the real technique. And then the other ones, I think, also pretty severe, they taught a separate technique. So they both had pretty bad kind of traumatic things, but they had different ways that they taught it. So the first group got the real scientific one, and the other one got a fake one to see that was kind of similar, to show the difference and see if the scientific one really worked. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks after they started doing the research, they got called away to help another country that was going through a middle of a war and they needed more support. They didn't get to finish the study, but a year later, they went back to the orphanage and they wanted to see how the kids were doing after just 2 weeks of being taught this method. And they were shocked that 96%, almost all of the kids at the orphanage, had very little traumatic response anymore. They didn't know why. A lot of the kids felt so much better because not everybody learned the method. And so they asked them what happened to make all the kids learn. Apparently, after they left, there was a bunch of kids that were visibly feeling a lot better than some of the other kids. And so, of course, you guys all love sharing. The other kids just said, hey, what did you learn? Because you seem to be doing better than we are. And so any kids that would wake up from having nightmares and so on, the other kids that learned the real method would wake up with the other children and they would go through the process with them to help them get out of that fearful memory. And it was so easy for the kids to learn that all of the kids in the orphanage ended up learning the technique and ended up feeling so much better. So even though they couldn't use it for scientific evidence in a paper, it was a really cool story to be able to share. It's that easy to teach.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I will be on here for another hour. If anybody else has any questions or parents have any questions, or if you guys have any specific things that you'd like to tap on together. No? Okay. You're welcome to leave the call if you'd like, if you're all done, and I will still be on here for anybody else to ask questions. So the other for the older teenagers, it's pretty much the same type of technique, except you add more words. And in my pamphlet here, I have another diagram that kind of spells out how you find the points and all the phrases and talking points that people could benefit from. So that handout, like I said, is on there for anybody. But you're welcome to sign off if you got what you need. Yes, you have a question.
Like above my sweaty, I have like sweaty hands. So like, how am I gonna how am I gonna overcome the sweaty hands?
How can you overcome the sweaty hands? So
Yeah.
you might actually even be a symptom of what's going on. So you can actually address the sweaty hands. So you could say, my sweaty hands.
Could it be because of nervousness?
It could be a sign of nervousness. I can't technically diagnose because I'm not working with you directly. So it could be something that's a physical thing, but it could also be a nervousness thing if you find that you're stressed out a lot. Because some people have overactive glands in their hands and in their armpits and other areas of their body that when they get really nervous, they sweat a lot. So you might be somebody that just has a little bit more of that. But if it's something that really bothers you, you could probably try to see if you could use tapping on that as well and use that as your stress. So you could say, even though I have this sweaty hand situation going on, I'm going to try to accept myself anyway. And then you go through the points. My sweaty hands, they really bother me. 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 And focus on thinking about the sweaty hands and how much that bothers you. And you keep going through the points, focusing on that. And then at the end, see if you notice any difference in your sweaty hands.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that I like to tell kids, especially, is when you go back to school finally in the future, right? And you want to try to calm some of your nerves when you're in the classroom. They used to use the points on the side of our fingers as pressure points for tapping. So what you can do underneath the table, nobody can see under your desk, right? All you have to do is pinch the sides of your fingers. There's 2 pressure points on the side of each nail bed. You just pinch it for 1 to 2 seconds. And then you go up all the fingers. And just remember to breathe as you're doing it. And then down the other hand. And then at the end, take a deep breath. And see if that relaxes a little bit of stress as well. The other good thing to know about when you feel really stressed and maybe you're feeling really afraid or anything, the reason that you kind of go into that crisis state is because when your body feels like it's not safe, all of the blood leaves your brain and goes down into your torso so that your body can prepare to run away or to fight somebody. And that's just our nervous system of how we learn how to protect ourselves as humans. So that doesn't really help us if we're trying to think about stuff, right? Because there's no blood in our brain. So in order to get the blood back up into our brain, in order to help us to think better again, all we have to do is put our hand on our forehead and just leave it there for a minute. And what this does, and the reason that this works, is that there's an electromagnetic field. Like I said, we have this big energy bubble around us, right? We have this field that comes from our hand, and when we put it on our head, then it actually draws the blood back up into our brain, and it helps us to be able to think clearly again. So if you can't think of doing anything else, all you got to do is put your hand on your forehead, and it will help you to start to think clearly again.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody else have any other questions? No? Any parents out there have any questions?
Younger kids, they won't follow these things sometimes. Like when they are stressed, when they are shouting, they won't follow. Is there any special technique?
Well, when they're really, really stressed, first remind them, let's breathe. And sometimes kids need to be able to incorporate their body with what they're doing too. So if your kids are starting to kind of collapse in and kind of get like really emotional internally, sometimes it helps to kind of expand the body a little bit too. So when they're breathing, say, all right, breathe and lift your arms up and take a deep, deep breath and then blow it out. And then breathe it in and then blow it out. And after probably about 5 times of that, you'll at least be able to speak more clearly to them and get them to respond. And sometimes they just need to remember to get back into their body because they're all over the place.
Okay,
Is that
thank you.
helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're welcome.
Thank you.
The other thing that I want to mention to people is I know that we're all kind of stuck in our houses right now, and that's feeling really kind of gross at this point. We all want to be outside, right? If you have the ability to go outside at all, and you have maybe a backyard or a place that has grass or even dirt somewhere nearby that's actually the earth, not like a potted plant on the earth, all you have to do is go and take a bare foot and put it on the earth, or a bare hand and put it on a tree that's buried in the earth, and connect with that for, a few minutes still helps, but if you can do it for 15 minutes, it'll help you to kind of get rid of some of that built up energy that's really kind of restless right now. So earthing has been shown to be really, really helpful in reducing stress, in reducing depression feelings, in reducing anxiety and inflammation in the body. And it overall just helps our body to flow better and our blood to flow better. And so I recommend trying to do that every day if you get a chance to do that. Okay? It really, really does help. Even if it's cold, I'd still try to put a foot on the ground for a little bit, and it helps me to feel better too after a long day. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'd love to hear how people feel like they're doing with all the stress going on right now. What's it been like being a kid that, isn't able to go to school right now, and you're cooped up with your family that you may not get along with all the time? Go ahead, Najat.
Yeah. So like my stress when I stay at home is like I get very bored. Like I have nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Only just schoolwork, and then when I go to schoolwork, I just put it on myself or with my family.
Okay. Do you have any other hobbies that you like to do?
Like hobbies, I like studying. Then like I like to go outside and like go on an adventure and travel.
Mm-hmm.
And when I travel, I also like to read books, and I also like sports, and I like many hobbies. But since the coronavirus is there, it's hard to do those hobbies.
Mm-hmm. Is it sad to not be able to do those hobbies still?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I think everybody's feeling pretty sad they can't do a lot of the stuff they used to, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run around and get if you have energy stored, you can't run around and get active or stuff like that. You're
Mm-hmm.
stuck inside.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys able to go out where you are?
Yeah, we have a backyard, so when it's sunny, we just go out and then just run around there.
Cool. It's good. It's very nice blessing that you have a backyard you can run around in. Some people don't have backyards. I feel really bad for them. Mm-hmm. How else? Anything else that's kind of been weird or stressful or different for you guys?
Well, waking up and not and getting ready, but you're getting ready for online school and you don't go to school. It's just your whole routine is disappeared.
Yeah.
It's changed.
You had something to say over there?
Yeah.
What?
You forgot what she's going to say.
That's okay. If you think about it again, you can say it. What were you going to say, Jad? Anything else that's been weird or strange?
No.
No? Have you guys been going to school in pajamas?
No, they would
No?
not allow us.
Ah, the school wouldn't or your parents?
We wear like we don't we. I have my pajama pants on
Yeah.
sometimes only. Not all.
Believe me, there's a lot of adults wearing pajama pants with a nice work top right now when they're on video
Yeah.
calls too. Yes, you remembered. What do you got to say?
Boring inside.
It is boring inside.
You like go well outside, but we can't.
Mm-hmm. What do you miss about being outside?
We're going swimming.
Going swimming. Mm-hmm. What else are you guys starting to appreciate about your normal days that you don't have anymore? What else are you missing?
There's less crime.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Crime went down.
Little bit safer.
A little bit
What are
safer.
what are you doing since since you're in home, right? What are you doing in home because of the COVID-19?
I am actually working still. I'm
Oh,
just here at my office right now, actually. I've been going to work pretty much every day because I still help people with their problems, which are certainly getting bigger right now. So they're a lot more stressed out and they have a lot more things that they're worrying about. And if they have problems before, there's new ones that are added now. So I am just as busy as I was before. I sometimes wish I could stay home and enjoy and catch up on things like crafts or gardening outside, but I just haven't had the time yet. So I am kind of envious that you guys have all this free time because I would love a little bit. Yeah. But there's lots of things to still focus on that are really important for just being grateful and appreciating. I miss being able to see my family, and being able to video call sometimes helps, just to say hi. But I'm just noticing the questions in the chat. I apologize, does not see them till right now, so I will be with them in just a moment. Other things to be grateful for, spending more time with any pets that you might have, or seeing how much your parents really do for you to keep things going, keep a roof over your head, and all the things that we have in our lives that maybe we take for granted before, and now we really get to see how much we miss them being in our life, right? The ability to go and do sports, the ability to go see friends, go and get, dinners out to eat at restaurants or visit parks. There's lots of different things to be grateful for right now. And without this situation, we wouldn't maybe focus on that, right? So it's good to kind of have some perspective out of this as well. That helps us to try to stay positive. So let me just answer a couple of the questions in the chat here. Evelyn, you had asked, I missed the beginning. Do you explain the pamphlets that you're referring to? Yes, I explained the pamphlets in this recording. So I will be sending out an email to anybody who registered for this event, which was about 25 people, but it seems that things probably got caught up for a lot of people. So I will be sending out the recording of this to everybody on that list of who signed up, so you can get the whole rundown of all the points and all the tapping activity that I did. And in the top of this group chat is the link for this downloadable document, which I will also put in the email that I will be sending out to people who had RSVP'd. So another person, Sharon, had asked, for worrying at night, what do you recommend to quiet the brain for kids and adults? So I did actually recently recommend that somebody do some earthing before bed, and they said that it helped their teenager to sleep better, who was really, really stressed out and worrying. And the next day they slept a lot better than they had because they had done the earthing. So I definitely recommend trying to see if you can do that with your kids, if that's a possibility, because it does calm the nervous system down quite a bit. As far as quieting the brain for kids and adults, I would say I love to also listen to sound healing music. sound healing music or even classical music in the background helps to kind of calm the nervous system down as well. They've done a lot of studies on the beats and the tempo of music. And the higher the beat and tempo it is, the more energizing it is. And the slower they are, the more calming it is for the body. So that's important to pay attention to with music in the home. But there's also different types of musical instruments that provide a better type of cleansing of your energy field. My favorite is crystal singing bowls, which they have lots of recordings on YouTube for. I do have some recommendations on my website in my holistic tips for wellness. If you are able to go to my website, and I will actually type in my website here as well for anybody who's not familiar with that. Actually, that was just to Shannon, sorry, everyone. www.awakenhcs.com. So if you cannot see the group chat, that website is www.awakenhcs.com. And so on my website, I have a tab that says COVID-19. And I have, when you click on that tab, it gives kind of an update on my services and how I'm being affected. But if you keep scrolling lower, I have a whole list of holistic wellness tips for keeping your energy in a good space while this is all going on. And there's a bunch of links in there. And the next question. Is there a particular type of tapping you would recommend for kids for bedtime to reduce worry? So the worrying, I would probably focus on what are they specifically worrying about. So help them to identify what is the biggest worry and give it a name, give it a label, and have them do the tapping rounds and say, say it was a little kid, you'd say, being scared at night. Being scared at night. Being scared at night. Actually, the little ones go over here. Being scared at night. Being scared at night. And then you can keep doing the rounds until they start to feel like their worry is going down a bit. Being scared at night. Being scared at night. Being scared at night. Being scared at night. And do that as many times as they need to in order for the body to be like, oh, okay, I can feel okay right now. My body is calm. So if you do this daily, if you practice tapping daily, it should help your body to remind itself that you're safe and that you're okay. And it will help to kind of clear out all those the power lines in the body that we talked about. It'll help to kind of keep them moving along really well most of the time. If you do have something that upsets you, it's normal to get upset. It's normal to have emotions, to have feelings. It's just if it gets stuck and you feel stuck, that's where it might especially be helpful. Do we have any other questions? Are there any other tips people are looking for in a holistic way? Trying to think if there's anything else that I would recommend. I personally am a big fan of healing stones. I don't know if people are familiar with crystals.
Oh,
Healing stones, right? So I have some pretty cool ones in my office. I tend to wear them a lot. Oh, I just remembered something else I want to tell people. I have a big bowl in my office. All these different kinds of healing stones that people pick up while they're working with me and hold them, and all the different ones have different things that it helps with. But I like healing stones because the energy of them is really pure a lot of the time. They come from the earth. They come with the minerals from the earth, and they kind of affect our body in different ways than the outside world. So if we have healing stones on us, the energy from the stones can support our energy, and sometimes it can even clear energy. So I know for me, and I will say that there's not any, as far as I'm aware, there aren't any scientific studies about this yet because they lack funding to get them done, and somebody's got to pay for them. So one day, hopefully, we will have some studies that show this. Thanks for people who are here and had to leave. What I've personally experienced is when I have my healing stones on me, I feel much more grounded. I feel much more calm. I even find that sometimes I'm not surrounded by as many negative people because I've got really good energy on me. And that helps me to feel like I've got more control over my circumstances. The other thing that I wanted to mention is there are lots of, especially kids now, that are very energy sensitive. So what does that mean? You might feel overwhelmed easily by being on devices too long, being around, Wi-Fi and radio waves from cell phones. You might feel really drained. You might even get headaches or have problems sleeping. So I definitely recommend to parents that you try to keep the devices away from kids' heads while they're sleeping, away from their beds, because it will help their body to relax a little bit more. If you have the ability to, and everybody's on board with shutting the Wi-Fi down for a certain period of time, that could also be helpful. And, during that time, you can do family activities, playing games, or if you're out of the house. I know all the kids aren't really super happy about shutting the Wi-Fi off, but it can help your health. It can help your body feel better if you're overwhelmed by that energy. Some people are actually so sensitive that they have to stay away from other things and people in the world because they feel constantly sick by it. So I do recommend kind of limiting that if there's too much going on. I also have worked with and met many kids that they're sensitive to other people's energy and sensitive to the energy of places. So what that might look like is you might feel like you get scared going into a certain place, and you might not have any reason to feel scared, like in your mind, but you just feel unsafe just going to a certain place. Or you might feel like unsafe or sick, or feel like you start to feel negative when you're around somebody else who's negative. So some kids are getting to be hypersensitive to these types of energy fields around us. Like I said, we have this big energy field. And if you're that way, sometimes it can also be helpful to just do some energy practices for yourself. So if you want to go out into the world or be around people that you're not sure, you'll feel good around, I can actually show you how to do an energy zip up. So what you do, this zips up your energy field. You're gonna stand up and you're going to pretend like you have a zipper right at the base of your hips, right? And then you're gonna imagine zipping up your energy field all the way up to your nose, and then you're gonna twist and lock it, and then you're gonna throw it away like you have a key. So throw away the key this side, and you're gonna do it again from the bottom of your hips all the way up. Twist and lock, throw it away, and then do it again on each side. Twist and lock, one more. And twist and throw away. So that, I've actually tested people's energy fields with that. And when I've done the test, their field is way out here. And after they do the zip ups, it goes, whoop, and it comes really close to their body. So that can help to make you feel like you're more in control of your energy field as well. And if people are really sensitive while they're doing the EFT practice, the other recommendation that I have, and I have had somebody ask me, what if somebody has been hurt on their body before and they don't like the sensation of the tapping, or it might make them feel like they want to hurt themselves because they already have feelings that make them want to hurt themselves and they don't want that to be worse. So for that, you can also hold these pressure points instead of actually tapping on them. So if that feels more comfortable to you, you can hold on to those points and just press in with medium pressure into these points. And the reason that this works is because it's the same, it's those power lines have these openings right in these spots, right? And if you press on them, it kind of clicks into them. So it kind of like jolts the energy in those lines by just pressing on them. And you go through all the points. It's also, if you don't want to make too much noise, you can press and hold them. And they still will do the same thing all the way down. And for some people, that might be more comfortable than doing the tapping. The extra sensitive people, I tell to tap on the field above the body. I've had some people that tap on the field and they're like, whoa, I can feel that. You might even still be able to feel it just from tapping on the field yourself right now. Can anybody feel the tapping on the field? Yeah? So even without touching your body, you can still feel that sensation just by touching on the field of the body.
Oh, yeah, she do.
Mm-hmm. And that might be more comfortable for some people than to actually touch the body. And if that's more comfortable, then you do it that way. And sometimes after doing it this way for a little while, then you can actually graduate and do the touch again. Does that feel different to people? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Did it feel more
Actually
comfortable, different? Was that more comfortable for anybody than the other way?
That was, the other way was a little bit more comfortable, actually.
Okay, that's good to know. So you just do whatever works for you.
Okay.
So if the touching helps more, if the pressing helps more, or if the just tapping on the field helps more, whatever works for you is what you should do.
Okay.
And another answer I'm sure the people are not sure about is, can you over tap, right? Can you tap too much? First of all, if you're giving yourself bruises, you're tapping too hard. So medium pressure, not hard pressure, but medium pressure, not too soft, not too hard. And if you feel like you're doing it too much, you're relying on it too much, then try to space it out a little bit more and use additional coping tools with the other EFT tapping. Mm-hmm. What other coping tools do people already use that you find help? Anybody want to share? Deep breathing, somebody said. That's good. Meditation. How many of you tried meditation before? Yeah? Meditation's really good. It's actually been shown to be one of the only things that regrows what's called telomeres on the ends of our DNA, which is something that is concerned with losing our memory. So people who have Alzheimer's or dementia, they find in most of those patients, they have short telomeres on the end of our DNA. And when you meditate, it actually helps to regrow those. So it helps to prevent people from getting worsening symptoms with Alzheimer's and dementia. Yes.
Sometimes I listen to like soft music or dance to soft music, which helps me.
Awesome. Dancing is really great. It helps to kind of get rid of some of the extra energy in our body, especially if we can't leave the house, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then counting. Counting's good, especially if you can combine counting with deep breathing and taking deep breaths with the counting.
At night, you can count sheep and then you fall asleep.
Yep. Yep. That's definitely true. Any other things that people have tried out there that help to kind of calm the body down and the brain down? Does anybody notice a difference in what they eat and how they feel? Sleeping's good to calm down too, yes. Sleeping is really good. I hope everybody can get as much sleep as possible right now. Yeah.
You could just like lay on your bed and just close your eyes and then think about the stress and like try to relax and think positive thoughts.
Hmm. What helps you to think positive thoughts?
I just like lay down the bed or if I'm just doing something and I have like negative feeling, I'll just think positive.
Good.
Situation.
That's a really good skill to have at such a young age. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to read off some of these other comments. So we imagine building something step by step, for example, a tree house or a big fort. So how you put it together, it helps them to kind of calm their brain down by thinking about all the steps. Being healthy, yep, that's good. Yes.
You can have your imagination like go into a new different world.
That's a really good one. I don't think we use our imaginations enough anymore, right? We've gotten so used to just putting our face at a screen, we forget to use our imagination. And some of those imaginative things are the coolest things that we could think of. They're really fun. How many of you like build forts and stuff in your house? Yeah? Yeah, forts are awesome.
Building forts.
Yes.
Also, like some people, they like to write a story of their day or just a story of what's going on in their mind. Help them calm down.
Yeah, that's actually called journaling, right?
Journalism.
Yeah. Journaling is a great skill. And the way that that works is you just take any sort of, book or white line paper, and you can just start it off by saying whatever's on your mind and just talk about your day and kind of get it out of your body. And after you do that, sometimes you could even just tear it up and throw it away. But it helps to kind of get it out of your body so it doesn't stay inside and kind of make you feel worse. Yes.
My uncle, for him to relax, he paints. He draws paintings or just some type of art and craft.
Yeah, and he was chosen by the exhibition and he got third place.
Cool. I take it you know each other.
Yeah.
That's funny.
News.
That's great. That's
They are
great.
cousins.
Oh, cool. Yeah, painting, doing any sort of crafts. I know I wish I had time to sit down and like make clay model things right now. I would like to have the time. I'll try to make some time. Are you guys able to even do things like go outside and go bike riding or rollerblading? Do you guys do that?
We used to do that like every summer. We used to do that, but because of the COVID-19, we couldn't.
No, they're not letting you guys go do that, huh?
Well, they are, but it's like you're just worried and you don't want to get it.
I hear you. Yeah. I don't think I have any other questions, or we still got another 25 minutes, so I am here for support with whatever you guys want to talk about. Any other questions that parents have or concerns?
How can you increase your studies? Like how can you increase your focus for your studies?
How can you increase your focus for your studies?
Yeah,
Well,
sometimes I just like when I'm trying to study for a test and I'm focused. And then when my sister comes in, I have a whole different focus now.
So sometimes it helps to know what is the best way you study. So is it good to have music in the background? Do you need silence? Do you need to be away from everybody? Do you need to be sitting up or laying down and reading a book like laying down or something? I don't know if you guys are all on, devices right now with electronic classes, but good to know what makes you feel unfocused and what makes you feel more focused. And then, yes.
For me, I just like to listen to some type of music in the background, and then I just like to study. It
Okay.
keeps me focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
For me, when I'm done my work, I would just have to just get some free time, so I just watch some sports. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely helps to break up the schedule too. If you don't have to be on at a certain time specifically for things, then you can make your own schedule. So chunk it into like 1 or 2 hours at a time. You're doing work, and then maybe take a 15-minute break to get up, walk around, get a snack, go to the bathroom, and then go back to doing your work. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Yes.
I wanted to ask about the stones you were telling, right? So I do wear lots of stones actually.
Okay.
Even I have a lot more, like these are all gems, like amethyst,
Mm-hmm.
the yellow sapphire. I have emerald.
Mm-hmm.
I have cat's eye and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's from my parents. Like, so do you think like they really have effect on our body or
Our energy field,
pardon me?
our energy body and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. From my personal experience, I definitely feel a difference when I wear them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, there's not, as far as I know, any scientific studies that prove that they do work that way. But historically, healing stones and crystals have been buried with, the highest priests and everything from Egypt to, all different places in the world. And people have, revered them, for centuries. So there must be something to that. It can't just be for no reason that people see gems as prized possessions. And I believe in much of the literature, they talk about how it provides more, like they're only for royalty and stuff because it provides special powers. There are stories that go way back about that stuff. As far as the specific things that those stones work with, I actually, I'm going to take my headphones out for 2 seconds. I'm going to go get a book that I have on my bookshelf, and I'll be right back to show you what I use as a reference.
Okay.
It's on recording. That's okay. She can record it. She can see it.
So this is a book that I have used for many years called The Crystal Bible by Judy Hall. And inside of these references, they give pictures of the different crystals, and then they tell you where it's from, and then it talks about the properties that it has and what it might help with. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I would seek out some resources like this that can give you more information. And some of these even, like I said, I can't diagnose, I can't claim that it does work, but some of the information in these books indicates that it does help with things like stress, anxiety, depression, other things. So if that's something that you want to investigate yourself more, I would recommend looking into some of the resources about it.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. It surely helps. Like I also feel that, but I'm not sure if each of them would like contradict with the other one. If we are wearing all at the same time, I felt sometimes, and I have removed few of them, and then I feel okay.
Yeah.
Might be there some interactions between them. Perhaps.
Yeah, I would go with what your intuition says about that, what your gut says about that.
Yeah.
Our bodies are really smart. We actually, I do this especially with new clients who are interested in learning more about stones. I have them come into my office and I have them pick out a random stone from the container that I have. And then I said, all right, well, let's go look up, what that stone is all about. And when we read out the description of what it says in the book about the stone, it almost always addresses something that they're having an issue with. So their intuition is saying, I need this. And so they pick it up. And they don't know why they pick it up, but in reading the explanation, it makes sense why they picked it up.
Right. True.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right?
I'm trying to, there was one more thing that I thought of. Oh, how many of you have heard about the law of attraction? Any of you heard about that? Law of attraction. So it's actually, you would probably love it because it's all positive thinking. It's all about how to shift your thoughts from negative to positive. And the premise about that is that negative, because thoughts are part of our energy field, that negative thoughts will attract more negative things and positive thoughts will attract more positive things. And so while this might sound scary initially, you do have some time to kind of catch yourself. So some of the resources out there say if you can catch your thought going in a direction that doesn't feel good in about 16 or 17 seconds, you can prevent it from affecting your mood in a negative way. So if you catch it pretty quickly and say, just distract yourself. So say, I'm worried about somebody I care about being sick, and it's starting to make you feel really bad just thinking about that. And you can immediately just say, you know what, I'm going to just focus on them being well and think about how they are when they're happy and when they're healthy. And you focus on that, then you're more likely to have that come true, not guaranteeing that it's going to happen, but you're more likely to have that be the energy around you than if you were to focus on the negative, which would maybe just add more negative energy to it. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. So I definitely use the law of attraction a lot. I teach the law of attraction. I haven't taught it to kids yet, but there are resources out there for kids to learn about the law of attraction if some parents are interested in learning about that as well, and teaching your kids how to think more positively and feeling empowered. I have another resource on my bookshelf over there that I can show you if you're interested in learning more about that. So let me go get that. So these resources are for kids, and this is called the Sarah books. So this is Sarah Book 1 by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and they are really big teachers. I don't know if parents have heard about these people yet. Abraham Hicks materials, and they're probably the most widely known law of attraction resource in the world. And they wrote a series of kids books called the Sarah books, and I think there's probably 4. I myself am not a huge reader, so I actually ended up getting the CD set. So it's the same book, but they have it on book and CD, and they also have it on Audible, if you guys have the Audible app, which I started listening to it because I just was never in a place to sit down and listen to the CDs. But this is my favorite resource for law of attraction are these people. And they're kind of the people who really set the tone for it in the world. For parents who are looking for more support on thinking positive, especially right now too, I recommend looking up Abraham Hicks on YouTube. So I'll type in how you search that, Abraham Hicks on YouTube. Oopsies, wrong button. So that is one of my favorite resources, and every time I've listened to their recordings, they always are able to give really pointed information and help you to talk out of the negative thoughts that you have and shift your vibration up. Does everybody know what the word vibration means? Yeah? Awesome. Woohoo. Good job, parents. Kids need to know about what vibration is. It's really important because it's all how, you know, it affects how we feel and it affects what we do. So the other thing that they talk about is, I wish I had my smaller version right now because I wasn't expecting to show this, but this is our emotional guidance scale. So this talks about all the different emotions that we have available to us, and the emotional guidance scale can help us to realize when we're stuck on a certain emotion. All we have to do is think about the emotion and then feel what that feels like in our body, and then we can try to bring up one more level. So if you're feeling angry, you know, think about what you're angry about, and then think about what might make you feel more discouraged about that. You know, what might make you feel a little bit more blameful. So this is the funny part about this emotional guidance scale is most people think that anger is a really bad emotion, right? Everybody said, oh, don't be angry. But the reality is people don't want you to be aggressive. Aggressive is different than anger. So you're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to feel sad. You just can't take it out on other people or yourself because that could hurt you. So anger is okay, but aggression is not okay. Fear is okay to have, but you kind of striking fear at others or making other people feel scared is not okay. So emotions are different than behaviors and your actions. But realistically on this scale, anger is actually a higher feeling than fear and grief and depression. And so it's interesting that our culture says that it's not okay to feel angry, but you can feel depressed. You know, it's not a problem to feel, everybody feels depressed, but depressed is actually a worse feeling than anger is. And the reason for that is because anger allows you to take your power back. And when you're feeling depressed and you're feeling grief and you're feeling despair, you have no sense of power. And that's the most challenging part about that. So if you can start to just raise up how you're feeling out of that kind of depression feeling, the next one up the scale is feeling insecurity or guilt or unworthiness, which those aren't really great emotions either, right? Nobody wants to feel guilt or insecurity or unworthy, but it feels a little bit better, a little bit lighter than feeling grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, and fear. So it's an improvement, even though it doesn't sound like it. So that's kind of the interesting part about it. So even feeling jealousy is still a step up from feeling insecurity, because again, you're taking your power back a little bit. Feeling hatred and rage is even more powerful than jealousy, because you're stepping more into your power. So the higher you go, the more power that you have. And the key important part about this is that most people go up and down the scale every day, all day. And it's okay that you go up and down the scale. The most important part is that you try to stay in the top half of the scale 75% of the time. And the other 25% of the time, allow yourself to be able to go down into some of those heavier feelings, because if we didn't experience those heavy feelings, we wouldn't know what we wanted instead. It wouldn't teach us what felt bad, therefore I want this that feels better. So that's what's called contrast, and that's what is talked about in a lot of the Abraham Hicks materials, especially, is the contrast of you have to have light in order to have dark. You have to have up in order to have down. So there's always an opposite from the other thing. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, good. Still got another 10 minutes on here that I've scheduled to be on here. So is there any other things that are making you guys curious that I might be able to help with? No?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I hope you enjoyed
Thank
the
you
chat.
very much.
Yes,
Also.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
And you too.
Yes, and if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you have anybody you wanted to share this recording with, I would either keep a lookout on my website or my Facebook page, which I will type in here too, facebook.com/HCS. So that's my Facebook page. I will be posting the published product of this so that you guys have it as a reference afterwards. So once it's published, I will put it on my Facebook page for sure. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much for logging in.
What's
and
your
participating.
Facebook?
So it's facebook.com/AWA
It's in chats.
Okay.
KENHCS.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for participating so much. You guys did awesome. I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good day.
Have a good day to you too.
Thanks. Bye.